friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. We're going to have a fireside chat. Oh, man, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. There's some new information, and you guys are going to be thrilled. So before we get into the episode, or you enjoying the podcast, make sure you go to the website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Again, the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Go check us out, see what we're all about. If there's any way you can help us, it'd be much appreciated. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you go back and check them out again, it really truly is an amazing organization, but you can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are. We're back. Man, I got Mark with me. Oh, hold on a second. I say I did, and then wait, try this one. I add that one to the stage. Remove this one. I don't know which one you're on, Mark. Well, I have Mark O'Loughlin here with me. There he is. Okay, I see him now. We're doing good. I'm got to unmute there. But how you doing, Mark? You doing all right today? Oh, you got to unmute. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right,
but
cool.
It's not. There we go. Am I unmuted now?
Yep, you're good now.
Okay. It's all good out here in Southern California, except for, those three things that I keep talking about.
Yeah. It happens.
But,
I don't know.
The weather's nice. It's beautiful out here. But it's going good. It's going good.
Very nice.
Still working. Wounded Warrior Project had a good week. Helped a lot of people. Unfortunately, there was some people, in crisis situation that we helped. But the Wounded Warrior Project is out there for everybody also. Post-line 9/11 veterans and their families.
Yeah, that's right. And, that is an amazing organization as well. And people should go check them out. I should start pimping those guys out too. I need to put that in there somehow at my beginning spiel. So, or you can do it whenever you come on. And that way you can remind us about it. Yeah, we could do that as well. But look who joined us. We got Mike. Mike came in here. Mike, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I apologize. Lost track of time.
That's okay. No problem.
My wife was going on me about how I never make dinner for her, so I was cooking dinner and lost track of time. Now she's yelling in the background.
You better behave yourself, man.
Yeah, well. The only reason I'm still here is because of behaving myself around her. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, for sure. Well,
you hear my oven timer going on?
Oh, you gotta get your stuff out of the oven.
Yeah, because she can't. She's a pretty princess. She can't do any of that stuff. So I gotta do it.
That's right.
She's mad. She's yelling in the background.
That's good stuff. Well, I'm excited. I don't know if you're excited, but I am thrilled. Mark, do you know why I'm thrilled?
Why is that, Andrew? Why are you thrilled?
Well, there's a guy I know who has a book coming out in the very near future, and it will be out. What'd you say, the 13th or something like that? Is that right?
We're planning on the 13th. If all goes well, today will be the deciding factor. If I get one piece of information from somebody, then we can finish it. We can finalize it. You remember how that was?
Oh yeah. What can I send you? You said you're missing one piece of information. Let me send you something.
Oh no, it's got to be certain individuals. He's not here. He came in yet.
Well, that's good. But yeah, it's going to be finished. I figured we could kind of talk about that if you wanted to. You know, this would be the first time that officially talking about it as far as it's getting published and going out to everybody. You want to kind of go into it a little bit?
You got any artwork out yet, Mark?
I don't know if you heard you. Did you hear us?
Oh. You cut out my.
I think they got you over there, Mark. They're messing with you. You're lagging.
Uh-oh. I can hear you, Andy.
Yeah, I hear you now.
I can hear
yeah.
Andrew.
No, I was saying, you have any of the artwork out that you give us a sneak preview? Nothing.
There was actually no artwork. There's only one picture in it, and that's the picture of the lapel pin with the crucifix, the American flag, and the Marine Corps flag. God, country, and service.
Yeah,
that'll be the only picture that's in there.
Right on. And you'll be selling those too.
Selling those. Yep, yeah. They'll be offered on through your website, through my website, everything.
All right.
Then then we're gonna get some made for all the other services also.
Yeah. Now, is your website up and going now?
No, that should be up. Hopefully tomorrow it should be up.
All right.
Hopefully.
Do you know the link for it? I can put it in here.
No, I don't know, because they had my name misspelled in it, so it had to change.
Yeah.
But so can we see this?
Go up just a little bit.
Show up? Doesn't show up, does it?
No. Just a little bit. You can.
Sorry.
All right, hold it.
There
still.
it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Validated leadership.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tested, proven, trusted. God, country, and service. Very nice. Awesome. Man, I can't wait. Can't wait to get a copy. What's the bottom say?
Can we read that one?
Mark J. O'Loughlin, Sergeant Major. I can't read the rest of it. It's kind of fuzzing out on me. What's the bottom?
United States Marine Corps retired, but still inspired.
Nice. That's a good one. That's awesome. Oh, man. Well,
so was that what you had to get fixed? Because it said Mac O'Loughlin.
Yeah, but it's going to be, so validation is, I think, if we went back to my my interview or my story with you, Andrew, 2+ years ago?
It's been that long.
I can't believe it's been this long. But anyway, I talked about just five simple rules. I took there's one chapter in the book. It's called Leadership 101. It just goes over the basics of Marine Corps leadership, and then how you can 5 rules. You got to have a kind of a base to go off of. So brilliance in the basics. That's all. Everything we did in the Marine Corps was brilliance in the basics. Once you had the basics down and you had them as a second nature, then you can move on to something else and be extremely efficient. So these are just, I took the leadership I learned throughout my life so far in the Marine Corps, 30 years, and then the rest in the corporate world here. And I just finally scratched it all down on a piece of paper, and I've been building it up all throughout most of my career, but finally got it out there. And you were a big inspiration on that. You kept pushing on me.
Yeah, only because I gave you a hard time every time.
So thank you very much.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I'm glad it's done. We can go out now and we can get you on all the other podcasts.
In some ways, I'm glad it took so long, because that'd be good. I already got locked on for 2 of them already. That the list you sent me. So
good.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Nice.
Well, Mark, you say that was what you've learned through the years, right? Marine Corps. Can you hear me?
Through the years, from growing up on the farm with my dad and all my brothers, and then throughout the war, and then after the Marine Corps.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously that was an inspiration when you were before the Marine Corps, but there had, I want to honestly think, Mark, I've never met you personally. I've talked to you enough. I've seen you enough. We've had conversations on the podcast that you're extremely intelligent in what you can do as far as the leadership aspect of things go. But you've had to have people, good and bad, in your life that have pointed you in certain directions and have literally, it's like, yeah, this is, idols. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do it like that. We all have. But, what
Definitely.
were your inspirations?
Yeah. So Andrew knows him. That was one of his main points is it's good. It's not always good to work for a great leader all the time. If you're always working for a great leader, then you come to expect it, and it gets easy. Your leadership and your maturity and your discipline comes when you have that leader that doesn't display, the positive leadership that you've come to accustom. So yes, you learn from both. You learn from both. You learn how not to be, but then even those bad leaders got some good qualities to them too. No one's 100% screwed up.
That's true. That's true. And you got to look for the positive.
And there's throughout my career, there's people who exactly. And you got to show to be a good leader, you got to be a good follower, and you have to be able to follow with fidelity and zeal what you consider a poor leader. And because just because you consider them a poor leader, maybe in a lot of ways they're not that poor of a leader, and it's just your maturity level, your experience level.
Yeah.
So
very true. A lot of times when it's like that, and you're looking at them and you're like, I don't think this guy is worth his salt, and then you're not seeing it from his perspective either. And I think that's one thing that that we fail at a lot is trying to look at it from another point of view, because a lot of times maybe he's getting grief from somebody else and he's having to do certain things, and that's just in the nature of the beast sometimes. But I think sitting in somebody else's shoes is very important.
And definitely, especially since Facebook and emails and stuff like that, I've had Marines that I've led years and years ago. They see me on Facebook or they connect somehow, and they say, I hated when I was under your charge. I just despised it. I couldn't wait to get out of your unit. But then they get to another unit, and they're not being taken care of. Things aren't going right.
The grass isn't always greener.
They've got this problem. They're not getting promoted. They're not getting their award.
Yep.
Exactly. Then they come back and say, now I see why you were like that. And I appreciate that you took care of all those administrative issues that we didn't have to worry about, so we could concentrate on the war fighting aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's very important. Now your book that you have, Validated Leadership, you say you go through all 5 of your points, and then how many chapters? Like how big's the book? What are we looking at here?
There's 7 chapters. So there's Leadership 101. Then you got each rule, each leadership. My leadership rule is each a chapter. And then at the end, it's how you can take those 5 rules and implement them into your life.
Right.
In whatever you do, in your life, in your business, in your schoolwork, however, it gives you ways to put them into use.
Right. And this isn't just for all our military folks or veterans. I mean, this can be for anybody.
Not at all. This can be for anybody. It's like I said, I've worked with real estate brokers to teach this stuff. I taught this stuff to their real estate agents, to get them to overcome a hesitancy of making those cold calls, of overcoming the fear of rejection, and motivating themselves, and making sure, like I said, loan officers and real estate agents, making sure they are doing the right thing for the people that they're servicing.
Right.
Make sure that loan is the best loan, that house is the best house for them. I've done it for real estate sales. I've done it for other sales companies. I've done it for banks. I spoke to one time to about 500 people in the mortgage industry of Wells Fargo.
Really?
And,
wow.
So it's just in life. You could use it for life,
Yeah.
everything, because leadership is leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. And
You just got to adjust it.
Sorry.
It just has to be adjusted and tweaked to the specific systems that an organization has.
Yeah. Each organization does have its own little niche, if you will, niche. I don't know how you want to say that,
of course.
And adopting it to that specific way,
Correct. That's like when I go in to teach or consult. First I go in and I speak to the CEO or the head person, right? Because you know how it is. It's just like, when you'd have young Marines, or especially with kids, you're that immediate leadership figure, and you're telling them to do this, or they should do this, or giving them advice on this, and they're just gaffing it. It's like going in one ear and out the other. But then someone on the outside tells them the exact same thing, and it's like, whoa, that is the greatest thing in the world. So I come in and I talk to the CEOs and I say, okay, what are you trying to get across to them? What are you always pushing down to them that you feel like they're gaffing you off? And then I go down and meet with the people, and I talk to the worker bees, and I talk to each level of management. And then when I get them all together, then I start pushing out those things that the CEO was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And they're thinking, oh, wow, maybe the CEO is right. Maybe our chief operating officer is right.
I've learned that in those instances, especially when I was like leading a unit or whatever, I would have somebody come in and they would say almost verbatim what I would say. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, it's so important. It's so cool. And you're like, I've literally been saying this and you have ignored everything I said. So it's pretty funny.
Right. And one of the big things I push that a lot of people don't is like correct counseling or proper counseling system, because usually, and even like I said, I came up throughout the Marine Corps, if you were not properly counseled as a younger Marine, you're probably not that good at counseling as you got into the upper levels.
So true. Because
you had to learn. Leadership is learned by observation, emulation, and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And but counseling is just so important about getting that point across.
Yeah. And that's actually one thing, Mark, you saying that, I think I brought this up, and we've got the group text message, but it was several months ago. It was like my new boss is like, hey, I need you to write your evaluation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, but it's like, okay, well, what are your expectations of me? And his exact words were, he said, you tell me.
Yeah,
and I'm like, really? But then you're going to turn around and put this on me and say, well, this is all dependent on whether you get a pay raise or not. Really? It's like, okay, maybe you're new to I'll say new to the group I'm with, but we'll say maybe you're new to the organization. Okay. But at least have some kind of, just sit down with me. Sit and talk. It's like, hey, what do you do, man? Actually just sit and talk to you and say, what do you do?
Correct.
What do we do? How do you do it? You know nothing about what we do. And I'm not saying, military wide, we're going into the civilian aspect of things. It's like, and I've never understood that concept is like, hey, you need to write your own evaluation. And then go ahead and ask 3 other people to write an evaluation on you.
I don't know about all that. I have.
Well, that's how Georgia Pacific and Koch Industries works. But I understand. It's like, okay, well, it's beneficial to have your peers actually, it's like, hey, tell me what I'm doing good. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me where I'm deficient. That's not a bad thing. You know, what could I be doing better?
Mm-hmm.
But don't ask me what my job is.
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
supposed to tell me what my job is.
Yeah, it's like, seriously. I mean, I can blow smoke all day long if you want me to, but it's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what my job is. And that's, you know, Mark, what you're talking about is, you know, actual quality evaluations.
Correct.
They don't, you know, they don't have to be like smoke and mirrors where, like, man, you're the best thing that ever existed. I mean, there's positives to every evaluation, but there's things that's like, hey, man, you know,
well,
let's talk about this.
But lazy leaders use evaluations as counseling tools, and they're not.
And
There's not.
that's the lazy.
Your evaluation should not be a surprise to you, because if you've been properly counseled throughout the evaluation period, you're going to know how that evaluation is going to come out.
Yes.
I think that's where a big misconception is. Even in the Marine Corps, it's a big misconception.
It is.
Fitness report is my counseling. No, it's not. It's this is how you did, and you should have been counseled, and it should show improvement, because I told you honestly, these are the things you messed up. This is what you need to do better, and then hopefully you improve upon it.
Yeah. How many of those have we had?
You know, because once again, just like the NCO creed says, their performance will reflect an image of me.
Yeah.
So if you've got poor performers and you're not doing anything about it, then, you know, what good are you? You know, even General Patton said, you know, anybody who fails to make corrections is useless in peacetime and a dangerous liability in combat.
Very true.
And because it's your job to bring your people along and make them better, and to replace you. They should be your replacement. You should be, you know, you should be able to walk away and your unit still operates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or in combat, get killed or wounded and your unit still operates.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing in a corporate world, that, you know, it's job security. Nobody wants to do that.
Exactly.
Yep. You know, there's no, they don't, you know, that's one thing, you know, as far as what, you know, Mark, you did, Andrew, you know, I was just a band guy, but, you know, it's like, why would I hold on to information if it's going to make you better? It's going to make us better, and it's going to make my job easier. Why would you ever hold on to, you know, it's not.
I think it comes back to what you were saying a second ago, is if there's an individual and it's that job security, if I tell you and I help you through and I try to make you better, well, then eventually you're going to take my job from me, and I need my job. I want to have security.
Yeah, in the corporate world, yeah. But, you know, like Mark's saying, it's like at some point in time, you're only going to be here for this amount of time.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to replace you, and that's one of the biggest things. It's like, why the hell don't you want to give all the information that you have? It's like, hey, man, you know, or whoever. I say man, but I mean it in the sense that man, woman, whatever. It's, you know, this, and that. You know, stop and think about this. Stop and think about that.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, in a corporate world, since I've been out of the Marine Corps, I've not understood why it is the way it is, but, you know, it is. And it was explained to me, you know, it's like, it's job security. Why the hell would I tell you what I know at that point? It's like, okay, well, I'm making you're making your job harder, or I'm making, you know, if you can share that information with you, I promise you I'll make your job easier.
Yeah.
You know, and just do what you got to do, man, at that point. So
one thing that I find in all this is, and I'm sure both of you can attest to this, but when you give that trust, that faith, that confidence in your juniors, right? And you say, hey, look, go out and make the decision, go do this, go do that. I'm going to hold you accountable if you screw it up, but go out, make the decisions, figure it out. They learn so much more, so much faster, and they just kind of bloom. And if you stifle that and you hold them back, man, they're just going to be struggling, and it's going to take forever to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's always going to be that trust but
they
verify. Sorry,
and
Mark.
they need to know when they go out there on their own, when they use initiative, they need to know there's a difference between initiative and a blatant disregard for orders and regulations. If they're going straight off the, if they go way past the free end zone or way past the sidelines to kind of take a dangerous shortcut, that's not initiative. That's just terrible judgment and everything. So they do need to know that here's your left and right lateral limits, and go on and do great things. Break rules or regulations or laws, do something illegal, immoral, or just totally haphazard and dangerous.
Yeah. And we've all been in that situation. We've all been there where you have to, like, you're in the moment. I got to make that decision. And I don't know 100% what my command is going to say about it. Right. But I'm going to make a decision. And then it's either you take the butt chewing when it comes down and you say, hey, own up to it. I screwed that up. I won't make that decision again.
Correct.
And if you do that and you show responsibility, then they're going to put more faith in you even longer down the road, even though you screwed up.
If you're going with if the head person gives their intent, what has to happen? No ifs, ands, or buts.
Right.
What the intent on the outcome. If you're going along those lines, like I said, they know that. Yeah, they're gonna. Okay, you didn't make it, or you messed this up, but you were still going with my intent, and you didn't, break any laws. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Mark.
Use
is
that as
there's got to be leadership there in place. It's like, hey, you were following the intent. You were doing this. It's not the decision I would have made, but I will support you and I will defend you. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is a lot of times leadership just throws people under the bus.
Yeah,
and it's like, come on now. Where were you at that point in that Marines career when you were that age? What did you do? And that's one of the biggest things is sometimes you've got to be like, dude, what the hell are you doing, man?
Well, if you remember fitness reports in the 90s, if you didn't have all outstandings, you were, you were like, a bird. You're like a shitbird if you didn't get all. So they were just inflated. They inflated the fit reps because it was a zero defect mentality. If you screwed up whatsoever, you were done. You were like blacklisted.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was horrible.
I got to say, I'm glad that I wasn't an officer and I didn't have to do those evaluations. I just got to do the counseling aspect the majority of the time. Now, there was that time when I was the acting OIC, and they did put that responsibility on me. And doing the evaluations, the fitness reports themselves, that was stressful. And trying to, now I took it very literal. I would just look at the block and read it and say, do they fall into that or they don't? And if they did, boom, there. And kind of that's how I did it. But there's so many different ways that people do it. And, it's just tough. And, being the officer saying, hey, this is where I see you, because you can, depending on the day, you could see it differently, you forget a certain aspect or, of something that happened or what have you.
Correct.
But that's where the senior enlisted comes in, right? The importance of that, that second eyes, another check, say, hey, am I missing something?
Yep, without a doubt. But it's also so important to have those written counselings where you've got a scorecard, for lack of better words, on what they've done good, what they've done bad, not bad, how they've improved. Because if you can't go off memory, just like I said, you can't go off memory because he might have just ticked you off 2, 3, 4 days ago, and now you're looking at his doing his fit rep, he really ticked you off. Are you going to have that in your memory, or can you take your written counselings that you've done on them and look at it, the entire evaluation period?
Yeah. I think that's one thing that at least the Marine Corps, I don't know about all the other branches of service. I think that's one thing that we got away from, and it's to a detriment to a certain extent. That monthly counseling or the monthly sit down with your supervisor to say, hey, this is what I see, this is that. And we got away from that. And like you were saying, is you forget things, right? If he ticked me off now, 6 months earlier, he was the golden child. But
it's just so important. Even you bring that up, the Marine Corps' regulations. So a Lance Corporal, E3 and below, Lance Corporal below, is supposed to be counseled minimum once a month by the platoon commander. Okay.
Right.
The NCO is supposed to be counseled within a 30-day period of the new relationship, and then once every 3 months as a minimum. I tell you, as a platoon sergeant and platoon commander, I would counsel all my NCOs once or twice a month. I've made time for it because they were the cadre. You improve that cadre, you improve that leadership level, it's automatically going to go down. It's going to get better going down. The more they get counseled, the better they're going to become at counseling, and they will actually counsel their Marines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I just felt it was so much more important to get more counselings in on the NCOs. I mean, I always definitely got the once a month for Lance Corporals and below. But
you're right. The NCO one's very important. I would say that the staff NCO one. So when I was a senior enlisted, I would pull the staff NCOs in. That was my ritual once a month. Pull them in, and we would do. I would take credit for it, but I can't. It was actually Matt Boatwright who came up with it. But kneecap to kneecap is what he called them, K2Ks. And I would sit down with them and literally just a conversation starting out. Like, you talk whatever you want to talk about for 10 minutes, you go and let that Marine talk about different things. It could be football. It could be, the space, going to space, or it could be anything. Right. And then after that, okay, well, hey, here's some things that I have for you. And then you sit down and you start talking about, hey, these are things that you're doing really well. Here's some things that you need to improve upon. Or are you having any issues that we need to address that maybe I'm not aware of? And then that dialogue starts, and then you get that trust, right? And which is huge. But having that with the staff NCOs is incredibly important as well.
It is. But you didn't just come up with that. Someone was doing that with you throughout your Marine Corps career.
Absolutely.
And that's why you had good leaders providing good counselings. And so it was more important for you to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, with that, Mark and Andrew, let me ask this question. Like what you're talking about, Andrew, and even Mark, you've been talking about, were these all documented counselings?
Not all.
I mean, you're going to have some conversations. It's just like, hey, let's talk.
Yeah. So when I would have the official K2K, they would come in. I would write notes. Like I would have like in my notebook or whatever, my planner, I would write notes about what we talked about. That way I could go back to it like the following month and just say, hey, look, these are some of the things we talked about. How'd you do on this? How'd you do on that? And that way I could follow up. But it wasn't an official, hey, sign this counseling. It was I have a note that says I talked to this Marine about these things. And that way it was there. And you can use that like, well, unfortunately, we always say for bad things, but you can use it for positive. But so if a Marine gets in trouble, right, you can say, hey, look, we talked about it on this date, this time, and you can actually make copies of your planner, turn that in as a document, and they'll be, yeah, okay, well, there's a document that says that this happened, So, I mean, there's different ways to do it, but that's just kind of how I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, we were, Mark, you were saying, and even Andrew, we saw that in Iraq, before, you were, many a time you were a part of a damn wreck, non-wreck meeting.
Yeah.
And how many times did I get so, I'm not saying me, but I used to get so frustrated with some of that crap. And it's like, really? Seriously?
it seemed like a lot of people got down to the incredibly petty stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just seemed.
And it wasn't even like Mark, you're saying, it's like, okay, that Marine really ticked me off last week. Because, I told him to be here and he was 5 minutes late or something like that. But that Marine for the last 2 years has done everything you've ever asked him to do.
Right.
And it was, for us, it was almost like, well, 7 months ago, this Marine, and I'm like, am I kidding, Andrew?
No, you're right. It did happen.
No, it's like 7 months. I'm like,
yeah, but
crapping me? Seriously?
Did he learn his lesson? Right?
I mean, is he doing everything he's supposed to be doing? Is he doing everything we've asked him to do? Is he doing this, doing that? Has he stepped up? Well, yeah, but he still is like, no, bullshit.
It's, I like when I when I come in, I just, get a meeting with everybody and just lay down, hey, here's exactly, what I'm expecting. This is the Marine Corps regulations. This is the unit SOPs. All that. I said, I always say, I'm giving you the answers to the test.
Yeah.
Here it is. And even on promotion boards and recommendation boards, Marine of the Corps, NCO Corps, all the meritorious boards, I put out, and it was all Marine Corps knowledge. I said, here's some of the minimums that you're going to be asked on this board.
Yeah. So
I'm giving you the first 10 questions that's going to be asked to you. Here they are. Here they are. Memorize this, this set of knowledge.
You'll at least get in, right?
When you come in for a board, you're going to get some of these questions asked.
Yeah.
It's fulfills it. It gives them some of the confidence to come in, gives them, confidence in there, and a sense of accomplishment after they get done. Mm-hmm. It's just like a, close order drill. We don't expect them to be, be able to take the X like we do, Andrew, on the drill field.
Right.
But as a non-commissioned officer, they need to be able to stand in front of a group of Marines, give them commands, and march them from one point to the other. It's basic knowledge.
But that builds confidence in many, many different areas.
And that's one of the purposes of close order drill, is to increase the confidence in subordinate unit leaders by giving them an opportunity to exercise command.
Right. Yeah. And then for those that are in the platoon,
how many ex-tough guys, you get those boastful Marines, talking all kinds of crap, but then you put them in front of the platoon. Okay, march them to chow, or march them over here, or do something like that.
Yeah.
And they turn into the ex-tough guy because they're like, oh.
That's so true. Yeah. That's funny.
The ex-tough guy.
So going back to your book real quick, what is your number one thing about the book that you love? Yeah, I know. I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, like I said, the first, the first rule, you have to care about people and decide to be a good leader, or decide to be a great leader. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, that's straight Colonel Kelly right there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But it's so simple that it's so simple it makes it difficult. I think that we overthink it. We just go above and beyond and try to overcomplicate everything. When you look at it and just read it for what it is and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And even like what like it says in there, you got to care about people, but don't carry them. Don't do their jobs for them. Don't cover up their mistakes without remediating, behavior. You got to make sure they're developing them to be more mature human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important. Man, this turned into a good leadership discussion. Thanks, Mark. That's awesome. Wasn't for the book, man, we might not be talking about leadership.
Yeah, maybe someone could hire me to talk to give it to their business.
Okay, let's do our sales pitch for you, Mark. Let's tell everybody out there if you're looking for somebody to come in and straighten out your company, I don't know, whatever your sales, I don't want to say it that way. That's probably a bad way of saying it.
How do I say it? I should have that out there. It's I should have my
Not even
elevator speech.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not even company. Okay. I mean, Mark, do you get asked to come back to like 5th Marines and stuff like that and talk?
Yeah, I've been to different Marines that I've served with. They come and have me. They're now first sergeants and sergeant majors now, so they called me and asked me to come in for a leadership discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like it.
Well, that's where I would think it's important as far as the experience you have and what you've learned. You've forgotten more than most people know, Mark. And that's the funny thing is, it's not funny, but for you to come in and actually talk, to even officers and senior enlisted, but actually to come in and talk to junior Marines.
Yeah,
you've got a gift that you can't just put away. I mean, what you have is unbelievable. And
with and I was lucky in so many ways. I would have loved to been in a lot longer. Over 30 years and working for the general officer level and stuff like that. I would have liked to experience that. However, I spent majority of my time down at the entry level and of Marines and a little above that, working with rifle platoons or rifle squads and everything. So I would, even as a company first sergeant in a rifle company and a weapons company, you get the new Marines coming in from the School of Infantry, IT Infantry Training Battalion, and then they've got to be brought in and meshed in with the more experienced Marines. And like I said, I just spent all that time down there at that entry level, training recruits, training Marines at the School of Infantry Training Battalion, and then in the early stages of their infantry careers.
Yeah,
and I just love it. I just I was good at it. I loved it. I could get down there, and be in the field hiking and low crawling and hitting, rolling, throwing grenades, firing weapons. I just loved it. I loved it.
That's what they needed, because you were that example.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, exactly. You were the example and you led. I know Andrew always says bringing out the rear, but you were the one that was leading from the front.
Yeah, and then I'm sure we know he wasn't in the rear.
Yes, I know. But I'm sure Mark, many a time, he was sticking a foot up somebody's butt from the rear.
As the company gunny, you're in the rear on hikes and
there's the reason, though.
Put the foot where it belongs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, having known you for a little bit, Mark, I will say that your aspect that you said you just have to care. You're an individual that cares. And, when even when we first kind of met each other and everything down on the depot, even though I didn't see it at the time, you cared. And you were looking out for my well-being, even when I thought, man, this is crap. You were still looking out for me. You were looking out not just for me, but you were looking out for everybody, everywhere. So that caring aspect, you definitely have that down, Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. I love that you got this book coming out. We got to do everything we can to promote this son of a gun.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's good.
It's just they say you teach what you most need to know, so I always hit up the leadership aspect, because you just need to know it. You just need to know it as all aspects of life, from whatever your job is. But look at the most important leadership role you have is as men, is as a husband, father. And now for me, a grandfather and a godfather to people, to young people. So you've got, that charge, that leadership duty to perform perform well there also, not just at work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, anything else you want to cover, Mark? This one's all about you. So
Yeah.
validated leadership. So
just caring and service. That's why the book, at the top of the book, it'll say God, country, service.
Yeah.
And then the validated leadership, and then trusted, proven, and or tested, proven, and trusted. Because I tell people, these 5 rules, like I said, I didn't think these up myself. This is just how my mind organized all of the leadership I learned in life. And it's not theory. It's not theory. It's not conjecture. It's not, it's not experimental. These things have been tested, proven, and trusted in combat and peacetime.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all need that. We all need to know that, see the lessons and that they've been proven and they work. I think it's important to be able to see.
I mean, and you'll love this one. I won't go into it, but there's a great excerpt in the book from a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel, combat wounded, combat leader from Vietnam. And he tells about his first experience in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Coming from, the school's mentality at Quantico, and boom, flown over to Vietnam and dumped out into the bush with the 5th Marines. And,
sink or
and
swim.
He just steps in on that day. He gets out to this unit that day and he goes, "Hey, we're going in the attack next, against the next day." He's like, "Oh."
What a wake-up call, right?
He's got it, and he goes over his whole feelings and ideas and stuff like that. And one of the big things I put in the book too is, and I used to tell all my leaders, you can't go to combat every day. You can't, be in those dangerous situations every day, but you can read about it every day. You can read how someone had to go into something and what their thought pattern was, what their mental clarity was, and how they overcame their fear and their hesitancy and everything like that. And then, like, when you talk to leaders, especially those that performed well in combat environments, majority of them will tell you, I wasn't thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about the danger. I was thinking about my duty to the Marines on my left and right.
Yeah.
And especially as a commander, of the Marines under their charge. And, and that goes for soldiers, sailors, airmen who perform well in combat also. It's, we use Marines just because that's our greatest form of identity.
Right. Yeah. Everybody out there that's a different branch of service, we still love you. We just think you're better. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against you. We have Chesty and we have Mark O'Loughlin. So just saying you don't. Oh, shoot, fire. Well, heck, this has been a good one. I appreciate it. I'm excited. Now, Mark, where can everybody find the book when it comes out? Like, where is it going to be?
It'll be on Amazon. I'll have it'll be, I'll shoot it out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on everything. Then it'll be through Amazon. You'll be able to buy it through Amazon.
Let's see. Heroism is a combination of brave and stupid with only a couple of seconds to think about what you're about to do. Well, that's true.
That's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm excited. It's going to be on Amazon. You're going to be now. Are you going to be signing books anytime soon?
I can be.
You can be. Okay. All right. So what if they wanted a signed copy that says from Mark O'Loughlin to whoever? How do they do that?
I'm gonna have to work that one out. Do you have something like that for your books through your website?
I don't. No, I don't. My book has sold about 8 copies. I'm maybe a couple more than that, but my book is a stupid book about nothing important.
It's a book you put your heart and soul into, though, for a period of time.
True. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. What we can do, if anybody does want that, right? They can obviously email the podcast here, Lost Art Project Veterans Voices at gmail.com and say, hey, I want a book and I want Mark to sign it. And then I can let Mark know, or you just reach out to Mark.
That'll be on my website, because I'll have my email address will be mark@validatedleadership.com. That'll be my once it gets rolling. It won't be up till, like I said, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it'll be.
Very nice.
Yeah, when's the book come out? I know
Monday.
we've already said it, but Monday. Okay.
Monday, 13 April.
13 April. That's the day. If you haven't marked that in your calendar, you are behind the times, my friend. We've only been talking about it for how long now, Mark?
For 2 years at least on the podcast.
It's coming along. We're almost there. What's
so, they say, there's the old saying, God's delays are not God's denials. So this book had been delayed for different reasons. Part of my laziness was my laziness. But the one delay allowed me to get both that Vietnam veterans story in there and 2 other stories in there that I would not have had in. So I'm sure, I feel it's going to make, those delays are going to end up making the book better for everybody. It's just.
Did you see him what he put down here? He said, I'm looking forward to it. Sergeant Major, I won't read it, but I'll tell you I will. Honesty from the get-go. He has
as long as you buy it.
Yeah, as long as you buy it. We don't care if you read it, just buy the dang book, No, I'm just kidding. You should read it.
Like put it under a table leg that needs shoring up or whatever.
Oh, come on now. It'll be on top of the coffee table, and everybody comes over. It's like, what is this? It's like, you got to read this.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to put some links on my website, or not mine, the project's website as well, for Mark and everything. So it'll be out there, and we will. I'm sure we're going to hit it up every podcast. We're gonna push it every podcast and try to get as many, at least. Hey, you Marine Corps leaders out there. I'm just throwing that out there because there's a couple of you that watch the show. So push it, and make sure that they do it. He says he'll buy 2 copies to support you, and for it to come out on audio. He wait for it to come out on audiobook, right?
That will be in the future.
Now, are you going to be doing the audio, or is somebody else going to do it for you?
I get different opinions on that. Some people tell me, yeah, you've got to do it. You've got to sit down and get with the company that does it, and it's got to be your voice. And then another person will say, nah, we don't want your voice on there.
No, it needs to be your voice, Mark. It needs to be your voice.
We don't want to hear your voice.
Yeah. No, Mark, I mean, I've listened to audio books and different books, and, they're reading what they wrote or what was finally settled on between, however writing the book goes. But in the process, while you're reading it, you will interject certain things.
That's true.
Your emotions, the rise.
Yes, exactly, and that's why you need to do it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I will say that, but obviously I don't have a book, so I just have actually listened to a couple audio books, and it was like, listen to some that they were were written by people, and somebody else read it. It's like, okay, well, that's a neat story. But then when you actually hear the person
correct
that was behind the words, that actually have more interjection and how they, like you said, your inflection and how you talk about stuff, and then break off just a little bit and talk about something and get back to the book.
Yeah,
that's extremely important.
Yeah, I would agree.
Knowing me, I'd go way off on a tangent.
But
Mark would be like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Mark would be sitting there. He'd be like, "Hey, I gotta get my Jameson. Hold on, give me a second." But I don't mean to continue things on here, but I mean, Mark, what was your inspiration to actually really I know it's been a several year project for you, but what was your ultimate inspiration to do this?
I After putting it all together, this is when I was still active duty, and I used to teach. This is what I used to teach with all my leadership talks or whatever. So it
Yeah.
was like, I got to get it down. And then I told my mom, I told family members that I was going to do this book, and I had the manuscript. I used to tell them I had got it 80% done. This was back in like 2010, and and then my some of my aunts and uncles and stuff, they all passed away before I got it done. Then my mom passed away a few years ago, so it'll be 3 years in July, and I didn't get it done for them. So I finally had to get off my butt and sit down, and just one Saturday morning, I just sat down and I opened it back up, and I basically finished it. I sat there all day, finished it, and then finally got with a publisher and started getting the tweaks going and everything like that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, that's one thing somebody told me. It's been several years ago now, but it was like, it's amazing how we all have a book in us.
You do.
If you would actually just sit down and it's like, dude, what the hell would I write about? But I mean, you have extremely important things to talk about, Mark. I sit there and think about them. Like, what the hell do I have to write about?
I would beg to differ on that, Mike.
Yeah.
You have a very unique story. And I think that if that was written down, there are many individuals out there that could take a lot from that.
Well, my unique stories are sitting here when the kids are home for Christmas or something, and me telling a stupid story about somebody filling a diesel generator with water and crap like that. So it's like those are my stories. I turn into the old man that's like,
but that is funny. Those aren't stores. Those are just like, AJ's fishing stores. It's personal.
Yeah.
It's things that some people out there will adhere to.
Yeah.
And become endeared by it.
Yeah.
There's a great book out there called The Advantage of Adversity. And this was a guy who's blind. I think he went blind. Maybe I'm not sure if he was blind from birth. But anyway, he started doing every type of extreme sport there was. He even finally climbed up Mount Everest. He was on a team.
No kidding! Wow.
And he said it was just everyone thinks, oh, you got this disability or whatever. You're disabled. He goes, no. It's the advantage of the adversity I've had to live with in my life, and how am I going to push through it?
Wow.
Well, that's inspirational. Yeah, that's absolutely inspirational for people.
Yeah.
Because we all get into this woe is me crap. It's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that.
Once again, leadership is learned by observation, emulation, and experience. If they observe someone else doing something, especially something inspirational, then they can take it and try it. They can emulate it.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get the experience of trying it for themselves.
And make it their own.
This didn't work. Okay, just because that doesn't work, you change the method or the path, not the goal itself.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, I think what we need to do is go ahead and wrap this one up. But any parting, we'll do parting shots here. Well, Mike, we'll let you go first on the parting shots. Actually, we're going to do it the right way. I'm sorry. I'm almost scared to do it because I've had you both on here and we haven't lost any comms yet. So, you know what? We're going to pretend that we did it. And words of wisdom, Mike, we'll let you go first on words of wisdom. Actually, I'll go first. I'll give you a second, Mike. Words of wisdom. If you don't have a good night chesty puller wherever you are shirt, you are missing out, my friends. This is pretty awesome. In my humble opinion, we're going to get another one that says, good night, Sergeant Major Mark O'Loughlin, wherever you are. Have his face on there. It'll be good. I can't wait to get that one done. But anyhow, you could go to our website, whatever, click on the merchandise tab. You can go get you some cool gear. You can get you a cool look, the Bearded Veteran Brotherhood, although Mark does not agree with it. But if you're out there and you got that, you can do it. There's Jarhead Jabber stuff, right? For you Marine Corps leaguers out there, you can get that stuff. What else is there? Oh, man, there's hats, there's shirts, there's polos, there's T-shirts, there's sweatshirts or hoodies. All the cool things that everybody loves, you can go and find it. Anyways, that is not words of wisdom. That's just me doing a sales pitch. But but that's okay. I'll take it. Mike, what do you got for us, man?
I don't know if it's extremely knowledgeable, but knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens.
Ooh, okay. I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens.
Yeah. That was from Mark's hero, Jimi Hendrix.
Ooh, okay. All right. Air Force guy, Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's right. He got kicked out. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't know.
Nah, that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. And I would play it, but if I do, I might lose you, Mark. So I'm not right now.
So I'm gonna echo off of what Mike said about the knowledge. So you cannot teach what you do not know, and you cannot lead where you will not go.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Wow.
Okay, that's good. That's really good. I like it. All right.
Is that in the book?
I think so. Maybe. We'll have to read it and find out.
I like that. All right. And again, we're going to hit it every time. Every time we come on here for the podcast, we'll have Mark hit it and show you and tell you where you can get the book, all that good stuff. But we'll make sure that we push it as much as we can. But I'm super proud of you, Mark. I'm glad it's done. I can't wait to see it.
Well, like I said, you were an inspiration to me, Andrew. That's for sure.
Oh, no.
To get it done.
I was just a thorn in your side. That's all. That's all it was. Thorn in your side. I got you. I can do that any day of the week. But yeah. Anyways, Validated Leadership. Go and check it out. He says, I'll try to be on again soon, guys. Just been busy. Okay. Yeah. Come on whenever you can, man. But with that, hey, guys, thank you again for coming on and doing this. I truly appreciate you guys. To everybody out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some good resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. And that'll put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. Mike and Mark and the whole veteran community care about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing if they need that. No, I didn't do that. Hold on. I said that backwards, didn't I?
Sounded good to me, but I mean.
I screwed that one up. Reach out to your buddies that you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. That's what I was trying to say, and I didn't say that. But that's what I was trying to say for everybody out there. With that, hey, guys, once again, thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. Honor the journey and finish the fight.